Hello, I'm Victor Meadowcroft, and I'll be reading from my translation of Río Muerto by Colombian author Ricardo Silva Romero. This novel relays a story supposedly told to the author by a man who voted against the Colombian peace process in the referendum of 2016, which aimed to put an end to 50 years of conflict. Many years earlier, the man's father, Salomon, had been murdered in a small town called Belen del Chami, which was established by people fleeing the violence and had no real authority besides various armed groups and the corrupt priests and officials who went along with them. In the scene I'll be reading, Salomon's wife Hipolita and her two sons, Maximiliano and Segundo, have enlisted the help of the town gravedigger to bury Salomon's body without anyone noticing. Salomon's ghost watches on, aware that the gravedigger is taking a great personal risk in helping his family. The truck pulled over on the other side of the road, next to the barbed wire fence of a cattle farm, among a row of trees leading to the military base with only one soldier. Severo Caicedo, the awkward gravedigger who was driving the vehicle, got out alone, looked both ways before crossing the road, came to the greenish gates of the cemetery entrance, undid the padlock securing them shut with a key from his back pocket, and then returned to the truck on tiptoe, blessing himself. The sky was overcast with braids of storm cloud in that place no one in their right mind visited at that hour. It was starting to rain. Each time Caicedo looked up, spreading the palm of his hand to check if it was raining, a small droplet fell at his feet. Caicedo returned to the truck, convinced now of his own death. He drove down the trail of the Campo Santo, the truck rocking on a couple of bends, to a corner only he and the ghost knew of, the shovel corner. He opened the door to the trailer so that Maximiliano, Segundo, and Hipolita could follow him over to some poisonous bushes no gravedigger had dared touch. Come on, come on. From a small tin shed, he fetched a couple of shovels so they could assist him. He wiped the sweat from his hands on the thighs of his cloth pants. Here it is, he said. No one comes here. But he didn't respond to the question of why the body of their Salomon had to end up so far from the other corpses, because he stopped listening while they dug before the storm broke. 1, 2. 1, 2. Once the pit was ready, the ground revealing itself a mass of chalk and sand and grubs and centipedes, the undertaker went back to the truck, shouldered the corpse of Salomón Palacios the mute, wrapped in bloody sheets, and awkwardly set it down on the grass before pushing the man into his final resting place and chucking shovelfuls of earth over him, while that treacherous drizzle soaked the back of his shirt. Salomon watched as his corpse began turning into a mound of turf, looking on with nostalgia, with an urge to weep but no eyes to do so, with an urge to beg forgiveness of the Lord for having done this to the body he'd been given. And when his shrunken and bullet-riddled body disappeared forever and always, it was as if he'd been swallowed up by the night. The shrub will be his headstone, the undertaker said, instead of warning them not to tell a soul what they'd just done. Anyone got anything else they'd like to say? That I hope he knows how much we loved him, said Hipolita, staring at the grassy bulge. Thanks for everything, mumbled Segundo, squeezing the bit of paper his father had left him in his fist when he noticed everyone looking, but afterwards he was unable to hold back his tears. Let's go home, Maximiliano huffed. We'll get wet. And the drizzle turned into a downpour, and the downpour threatened to become another January storm. And he, the sorrowful and shamefaced ghost of Salomon, went blind and transformed into a ringing sound, a hum only the bats could hear. And it was as if his spirit had also been buried, and yet he had passed through the underworld or the blackness of time, and he felt himself falling forward, brushing past the cries and gasps and prayers and stray words of others in their dreams, and crossing with whispers and murmurs and wheezes, until he heard someone asking, "What? What? What?" A hoarse woman's voice that seemed familiar, and then a gas lamp was lit on a night table, and he found himself inside a bedroom overrun with figurines of the Virgin Mary. It wasn't a big room, more like a cave with rounded corners, but, despite the exhausting collection of virgins, it was also crammed with photographs, handicrafts, little boxes, and packs of cards set out on a row of shelves improvised with wooden planks. The TV was switched on, displaying the coloured bars. The place smelled of incense and tobacco, and on the night table, a small battery-powered fan had gone still, and a hand fan lay folded at his feet, because the storm had frozen the walls and door fittings of the rooms of that house. And it had forced the woman with the hoarse voice, Senora Polonia, to don a blanket like a ruana and to lie in the fetal position on the small bunk that had been there since before she moved in. "Salomon?" she asked, sitting up on the edge of the bunk opposite her wheelchair. And he made straight for the wall of virgins, knocking them over like an earthquake, because he didn't know how else to answer yes. And above the words of the witch, "What are you doing here? Did you die? Did they kill you? Who? What?" He began telling her that his family had buried him in secret in a field at the cemetery of Our Lady of Fatima, and that they'd done so in secret because a pack of hooded bastards had gunned him down at close range, supposedly for being a rat and helping his compadre Eliezer with his move. But how the only thing that mattered to him now was getting word to his sons that he would always be around and asking forgiveness of his wife for not staying alive.